Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the Cyber Gizmo, I'm going to be looking at Pegasus. Yeah, the spyware. Right after this. So Pegasus is, we know that it operates on both iOS and Android today. So I want to talk a little bit about it, what it does, how it works, and what we can do about it. So, a brief history. I always start with the history and talk and move forward. So, it's one of the most sophisticated pieces of malware that's ever been developed for both Android and iOS. Originally, it was first recognized by security researchers in April 2016 as a piece of malware which affected only iOS. And that was revealed at Black Hat Europe in 2016. Kaspersky's Security Analyst Summit, which I think was in August of 2016, actually showed that no, it wasn't just on iOS, but it was also on Android devices as well. What is Pegasus? Pegasus is a software product designed for surveillance, and it's developed by the NSO Group, an Israeli company, and this product has been around for quite some time. As to when it was actually initiated, I don't know, but the discovery of it was in 2016. And there are other products like Pegasus, so it's not alone in this marketplace. There are competitors which do similar types of things as Pegasus does. So Pegasus is not the first of its kind, but it is, like I said, very sophisticated. It originally used something called Trident, and Trident is a three-stage infection process that relies on 0 days in order to insert its malware payload into the root level of the device. So it in the original Trident, it actually used 3 0 days in order to install itself or pieces of itself to get finally to the payload that it wanted to drop on the device so that surveillance could begin. So, and Pegasus originally, and how did it infect? It originally used spear phishing attacks in order to entice that user to click on a link, and then that link kicked off the Trident infection process. So, and it was sent by iMessage. I think it also worked over WhatsApp as well. Today, however, Pegasus has evolved. It is now a zero-click infection, and it needs no interaction with the user, and it leaves no message to indicate infection. So there's no idea that something happened. For example, in the Trident phase, it would bring up Safari and then start to install, and then Safari would crash. You'd bring Safari back up, and all of the tracing was gone as to what had taken place, but the infection was done. So in this case, you have no inkling of what has happened. It's silent. So once you're infected with Pegasus, what does it do? So first thing it's got to do is it's got to contact its command and control center. It has a number of days to do that, and when it exceeds that counter, it automatically purges itself from the device, thinking, oh, there's some kind of problem here, and it will remove itself from the infection. It has a self-destruct mechanism in it. All the data that is collected is sent back to the command and control center. The command and control center then, of course, is the thing that is sending messages to Pegasus to tell it what to do. So it can turn on your microphone, and it can send your that information to the command and control center by audio files. It can also turn on your camera, and it can record video, which then is sent up to the command and control center as well. It can send your browser history. It can track your browser data. It can send your browser data so they know what you've been doing, where you've been going, what sites you've been looking at. It can install a keyboard logger, and that is used, of course, to capture any data and passwords that you may use on external sites. You can also send your Wi-Fi password out of memory. A lot of these devices keep the Wi-Fi password in memory and sometimes in the clear. And then that Wi-Fi password is sent to the command and control center, which I assume would then be used to be able to do a more direct attack on your network through your Wi-Fi gateway. It also installs hooks for popular apps. Some of those might be Gmail, WhatsApp, Facebook, and so forth, which allows that data that is generated there to also be sent up to the command and control center. and tracking your activity that way. It can send your location via the cellular network, and of course, that's going to be coarse data. It's not very accurate. It's accurate within half mile or something, but you can then, I don't know the exact figure, so don't jump on me if you say it's a quarter mile. Okay, it's a quarter mile, but it is not as accurate as GPS data. But it is smart enough to know that if you're in an area where GPS can be used, that will turn on GPS tracking and then use that to get a more higher resolution version of where you're at and where you're going. More importantly, there's other stuff that it does. This isn't all, but yeah, it's the stuff that has been published. And as to what else it actually does, I don't know if we actually have a full picture of that. We probably do, but like anything else, this is a software product and it does evolve over time with new releases. So Pegasus can install itself to reinfect your phone even after a full factory reset or a reinstall of the OS. So we know that it is able to do that. Pegasus can self-destruct. I've talked about that, and that can be controlled by the command and control center. If it's unable to reach it for a period of time, it also can receive a self-destruct command from the command and control center. Whether or not that method has been used to remove it, I don't know. I haven't read anything about any applications that are being used to do that, so I don't know. How to detect Pegasus. This is really the bigger question, is how to find out if you've got it. So currently, there is a piece of software which is released by Amnesty International. It's maintained by them, called the Mobile Verification Toolkit. And that is used to detect Pegasus on both iOS and Android phones. How much longer this tool is going to work, I don't know. Remember, this is a cat and mouse game between cybersecurity defense and cybersecurity offense. So, yeah, I mean, you're definitely in a cat and mouse game here. It uses indicators of compromise, which are areas that they have identified as infection points, and they have created signatures that identify those infection points. Like if it turns on, it installs a hook for WhatsApp, it would create an indicator of compromise for that. So MVC uses the structured thread information expression, or STIX files, to identify potential traces of Pegasus. Those STIC files are compared to the IOC files that Amnesty International maintains on their servers. So they do a comparison. So how does it work? You take a backup on, this is iOS. I haven't tried this yet. I'll probably do it. Maybe I'll do a video of it. But you take a backup of your iPhone and install it on your local machine. Don't send it to the cloud. That won't help you. You need to have it on your local machine. MBT then has the provision in it to accept your password for that backup and then decrypt it to another location. So it wants to operate on a fully unencrypted version of your backup. If you back up with iOS, of course, it encrypts it. So you have to get it unencrypted before MBT can do its thing. And then it will then run through all of the compromised IOCs to see if there's any matches with signatures that they have found in the past. If they find those, they alert you and they tell you you are infected. A less reliable way is that maybe your battery life is affected. That isn't always a good way, of course. The reason for that is as the phones age, the battery life declines. So yeah, over time, your battery life is going to go down. But if you notice this, you may have something running on the device that is running away. Now, whether or not it's Pegasus or maybe it's a background app that you forgot to shut down, I don't know. I mean, you'll have to find that out for yourself. Network access could be noticeably slower. Same thing there. It could be a background app that's just throwing crap up through there, or it could be Pegasus. That might be slowing it down. Now, if you are on Wi-Fi, you should be able to use, Wireshark or any of those tools to see movement and data going from your phone. And if you see something suspicious, well, yeah, although those files are going to get really long, really fast. You'll notice that most phones chat a lot. they do talk a lot. And none of these factors are foolproof, but it's the best I can offer you right now. Sorry for the poor bad news, but yeah, it is what it is. So there's been some bad advice given over the past month by other YouTubers. There's always people that have opinions on what we should do, but they don't ever look to see what people have already tried. So the first thing is the advice: do not install software from an untrusted source. So that's good advice normally, but that won't protect you from being infected by Pegasus, because Pegasus is a zero click, doesn't rely on a particular piece of software to be installed in order to get to you. So yeah, you can't rely on that method of protection for Pegasus. So it is a good thing overall to do. I'm not saying it's not. Uh, don't click on iMessage links or WhatsApp links or even email links. But again, because Pegasus is a zero click infection, those methods won't help protect you from being infected by Pegasus. Uh, now, one of the other things I saw was don't use the applications itself. Don't use the WhatsApp app or the Facebook app. Use your browser to go to those sites itself. But if you have been infected, remember that Pegasus can see browser data and all your browser history, and it knows what you're doing. So that's not going to protect you from giving up information to Pegasus. Whether or not it prevents you from being infected by Pegasus, well, we've seen in the past that the infection came from a 0-day infection from a clicked link using Safari as the browser. So, yeah, and then they executed a bunch of malware code through JavaScript and got the thing installed in your system. So, is the browser infallible? No. No. But again, it might be good advice to do that. And from a security perspective, there are some advantages to using the browser over the app. And the other one I saw recently was reboot your phone or perform a factory reset. Well, we already know that won't work. Pegasus will just reinstall itself. So yeah, that's not a reliable way to get rid of Pegasus. Sorry. So what do we do? What do we do here? Run MBT to now and check the ILC match and see if you are infected. And if you are, the only course that I can recommend to you right now that I know of, and if you know something else, let me know in the comments below. But this is the only reliable method that I know about. And that is get a new phone and a new phone number. Yeah, just dump yours in the trash. Because there's no reliable way that I know of that you can initiate the uninstall of the Pegasus app. Now, maybe someone down the road eventually will figure it out on how to get the command and control center to backfire and send the code to remove itself. But right now, I don't know how to do that. The other thing is, since it's collecting information about passwords and security tokens, Wi-Fi passwords and all that, change them immediately and change your security tokens because they probably have captured those as well. Second, if you live in a free country that has elected officials that are writing legislation for us, this problem with corporations is out of control. And it is time that our elected officials are held accountable to us and protect our privacy instead of theirs. Sorry about that, but it's time. The third thing is get rid of root. We've been trying to get rid of root for 30 years. Root is a problem. We know root's a problem. We know that anytime you have privileged access on a device, somebody is going to gain access, they're going to use it, and then they can see everything. If you are in a sandboxed environment, root has no business being on the machine. And there is no need. I mean, there are other ways to manage this where you don't have to have privileged escalation. We could use keys. We could use other mechanisms in order to emulate a privileged escalation. But those keys don't have to be resident on the machine. We may have to turn them on by putting a stick in or something in order to have the machine allow us to change software on the machine. Code blocks in memory and on disk must be immutable. And there are a number of software operating systems which do that. So if they want to model, here's a couple. You can go you can go to the Intel version of Linux. You can go to the versions of Fedora that allow this. So there are versions that do immutability. There are others, of course. So the other thing is that we only allow that software to be modified if the key is present to do so. That could be done by application. It could be done by you, the owner of the equipment. So probably would be better if you controlled it, but don't store your keys on the box. So, and then stop writing software that has all these poor security features in it that allow people to blow past it. Anyway, I've talked about this before. I don't need to be on my soapbox about this again. We really need to stop doing that. So yeah, sorry about that. So Pegasus is definitely sophisticated. What I tell you today isn't going to be true tomorrow, because the NSO group could just go away and put in whatever they want and change the whole game. Change the signatures, change the game, change how it looks, change how it works. And you can't stop that. But just keep in mind that it is software, and software can be defeated. I don't care whose it is. If they can install it, I can uninstall it. The question is how to get rid of it and how quick it can mutate itself from presenting enough rules, enough identity to me so that I can identify what it is. So I've watched this whole thing unfold for the past 20 years, not Pegasus per se, but just security in general. For the past 20 years, I've looked at this. This class of software falls into a bucket of intelligence surveillance called open source intelligence gathering, or OSINT. OSINT's been around since the first social media programs came up. This is nothing new. So the question is, should you get rid of your smartphone? I can't answer that for you. That's a decision you need to make. Is this worth it to you to have to live in this kind of an environment, given the freedom and the types of conveniences that you get from your smartphone? Yeah, we use it for everything, don't we? Yeah, we use it for everything today. So getting rid of it probably is not the answer. We need to cure the problem, not the solution. Yeah, it'd be typical for most times to try to cure the issue itself. But so that's what I had today. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Maybe you have some different ideas than I do. I think kind of old-fashionedly. My way of looking at security is you only reveal what you need to reveal. You only open what you need to open, and you never expose things that you never want out. So I don't, from my perspective, I don't turn on applications that will send crap out to a cloud server. I don't do that. But this kind of software kind of changes the game because I don't get that choice anymore. It does it for me. Anyway, that's all I had today. Hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you all again real soon. And let me know what you're going to do with your cell phone. Thanks, and bye for now.